What's going on, everybody? This is Rick from Studio Spades, and today I want to talk about a handy software suite which is called Dehancer. Dehancer is a handy software that allows you to color and or post-process your footage with film emulations or simulations of film development effects. You can think of things like certain film looks like Fujifilm or Kodak film, grain, dust spots, halation, bloom, some lens effects like vignetting and defringing as well. There are very similar plugins for DaVinci, Premiere, After Effects, Baselight, Final Cut Pro, a standalone desktop app as well for photography, which handles RAW files, for example, or JPEGs. A photo plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom Classic, Affinity as well, and Capture One. And there's an online version as well, which allows you to use it for free if you upload a maximum of 3 photos a day. But this online version is very simplified, but it's free, so it's a nice bonus, but it comes nowhere close near the Affinity or Photoshop plugin, for example. And there's also an iOS version. And from what I could see, the iOS version offers the same functionality as the photo plugin versions, the video plugin version, and also the standalone desktop app. And all of these apps and plugins work quite similarly. So if you know how to use one of them, you probably know how to use the other ones as well. So that's a nice bonus. They are all very similar, except again for the online version, which has been watered down and is more catered toward ease of use. But again, the online version is free, so it's a nice bonus, but I would stick to the desktop app or the plugin versions. Now, full disclosure, this video is going to be a sponsored video. Dehancer approached me to do this video, and most of my videos on my channel are about my own products, but I also talk about other people's products as well. But I only want to talk about them if they are very good, and Dehancer granted me access to their tools. So I've been working with the DaVinci version, the desktop app, the online environment from Dehancer, and also the Affinity plugin, which is actually a Photoshop plugin that works in Affinity. And yeah, I'm really impressed. So that's why I'm doing this video. And if I did not like this product, I would not do this video. So of course I am biased because I'm an affiliate, but I'm using my own last name as my company name. So my name is attached to the stuff I make, including these types of videos. And I don't want my last name to be attached to trash products, if I may say so myself. But after having tried Dehancer for a couple of days now, I can guarantee you it's definitely not trash. I actually like it a lot. And I'll talk about it in this video and show a lot of examples of what you can do and yeah, what I've made with it for the past couple of days. And if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment down below. It helps with the algorithm, helps the channel out, and it allows me to make more videos for you, just like this one. And now, back to the video. I told the Dehancer team that I will be honest in my review, and they didn't mind, and barely had any conditions for me to do this video, so that's good. They asked me if it was possible to show the online and iOS versions. Now, I don't have an Apple phone, so I can't show the iOS version, but I will show the online version for a few seconds. And yeah, they asked me to do this to show the diversity of the software pack. They also look forward to my honest review, so they could take my criticism as feedback and improve their products. And I definitely have some points of improvement. So yeah, but still, they sounded very confident in the product. And after having tried it for a couple of days, I definitely understand why. So in this video, I will mostly talk about the DaVinci version, the DaVinci Resolve plugin, because that's what I've been using the most and will probably use the most. But I've also tried the online environment, like I said, and also the Affinity plugin I have definitely tested, and the standalone desktop as well. So I'll be talking the most about the DaVinci plugin and their effects, but just know that these effects are available in the other versions as well. So in the Premiere plugin, the After Effects plugin, even the standalone desktop app, and the Photoshop and Affinity plugin as well. So when using the DaVinci plugin, at the top you'll be able to choose the camera and color profile that corresponds with the footage that you're trying to edit or post-process. You can also do some input corrections here, like exposure settings and temperature compensation. If your footage is too warm, you can cool it a bit. If it's too cool, you can warm it a bit. Stuff like that. Pretty simple, but definitely essential. Then for the first true effect, we have film profiles. Now these film profiles are accurately sampled from real film, as Dehancer says in their quick guide. And they basically emulate or simulate what certain films do to your footage. So if you would shoot footage on a certain type of Fujifilm film stock, for example, it would get the same coloration, discoloration, contrast, and all that kind of stuff. And there's more than 80 type of film profiles, and they are a nice preset or starting off point for your footage. You could basically choose a film profile at the start and leave it as is, and your footage will in most cases already look quite awesome. But there's a lot of effects you can apply after that, and a lot of corrections as well to improve the look even more so and make your footage more unique and less perfect. Because the problem with digital footage is that it's basically perfect, and film can definitely add that analog old school feel by bringing in a bit of more imperfections in the way your footage is shown. After that, there's a film developer section where you can boost the contrast, for example, correct the gamma, color boosting or color separation. You can do some additional corrections based on the input footage. Maybe the contrast isn't good enough, or maybe you need some extra color. This is where you can do that kind of stuff. But this is also, of course, after the film look has been added to your footage. So you can make the effects of the film you have chosen a bit more or a bit less obvious. Now, if this video so far has convinced you to get Dehancer, I have good news for you, because I have a special promo code for you that will get you a 10% discount off of your next Dehancer purchase. So check out the pinned comment below this video so you can see the promo code that will get you a 10% discount off of your next Dehancer purchase. And now back to the video. After that is the film compression tool, and this allows you to redistribute the highlights. So maybe you want to crush them or bring them more to the midpoint of your footage. This is where you would do that. After that, we have the expand section, which allows you to separately control the white and black points of your footage. You're able to tweak the contrast of the footage after the film look has been added, of course, here. In this section, you have way more flexible control over the contrast of your footage or lack of contrast. Now, after this, we have the color head section. So what this section basically allows you to do is get more creative with the color grading. You have a CMY and RGB sliders, and you can also change how warm or how cool the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights are. So you can get really creative in this section and radically shift the tone or atmosphere of your footage with either very obvious color grading or maybe doing it a bit more subtle. After this, we have the print medium selection. Now, this is the stage where a negative would be printed onto a positive film, so it would be ready for projection. But this print medium, of course, also has its own characteristics. And the Dehancer team sampled all kinds of print films to have your footage be printed onto, even though it is digital, of course, it's a digital effect. But these have been sampled carefully, and they also have their own characteristics that create a unique look for your footage that might look a bit too perfect. So this is a good way to de-enhance or worsen the quality of your footage and make it more analog and realistic instead of the perfect digital footage that you usually shoot with digital cameras. After this, we have the film grain section, which allows you to add a lot of grain to your footage. There's a couple of profiles like 8mm, 60mm, 35 and 65mm, but you're also able to customize these profiles as well and really dial in the specific settings that you would like to see. That's the great thing about this tool. They have a lot of profiles or presets, I would like to say. But when you press custom after that, you can really customize and dial in a lot of features like the size and color of the grain in this case. But this goes for all the effects I just mentioned. There's a lot of customizability, so I really enjoy that. And grain can add grit and realism to your footage and can also blend colors, especially when you have digital renders like a 3D animation or 2D animation, which has a lot of gradients. Using grain in your footage is a great way to dissolve the color banding that you might see where you see a gradient in very distinct stripes instead of a smooth gradient. Adding grain to your footage will solve this. After this we have halation, which adds a nice red-orange hue or glow around bright light sources or specular highlights and stuff like that. Just bright points in your footage will get a nice glow, and it can really help add that extra sense of realism to your footage and blend those areas of brightness and harsh lights a bit nicer into the footage. After this we have bloom, which emulates the combined effect of light dispersion on the boundaries of contrasting image areas, which originates in the optical system and then amplified in the emulsion layers. And the emulsion is used to develop the film in this case. I get all this info from the quick guide that they made, so it not only explains what the effect does, but also a bit on how it originates in film development. So I definitely recommend checking out the quick guide to know more about the tool and of course film development on a whole. Bloom only appears around bright light sources, so if you have footage with a lot of lights, think of a city at night with street lights or neon signs. If you add a little bit of bloom to it, you can widen the area of the lights themselves and make them really blend nicely into the footage. After this we have the film damage section, which I personally really love. It adds scratches, dust, fingerprints, all that kind of stuff to your footage, but it does it with a particle system. So it doesn't rely on a looping video, for example. It really generates particles on your footage, and every particle gets its own image of a scratch, a fingerprint, a dust spot, etc. The nice thing about this particle system, which generates these dust spots and scratches on your footage, is that it never loops, of course. It doesn't rely on video. It actually generates particles with images in those particles to degrade or dehance your footage in this case. Make it more realistic, make it look like it's been touched or processed by people, and make it look less perfect, which digital footage basically always is. After this we have the film breadth section. Now I personally love this section because it creates minor inconsistencies in exposure, contrast and color from frame to frame. So it basically looks like it's running through a projector. That's how I can explain it in the best way. These inconsistencies also used to occur when film hasn't been developed perfectly. It's been made by humans, the emulsion has been made by humans. Inconsistencies occur, and the film breadth section adds these inconsistencies per frame in exposure and color and contrast. So really love this effect. It can really make it feel more analog and realistic in some way, even though it is a digital effect. After this we have gate weave, which creates minor instabilities in the way the film strip moves through a camera. This is also a digital effect, but basically it comes down to shifting the footage from left to right a bit or up and down a bit, because it would go through a physical film projector or film camera. These minor changes in the rotation or alignment of the film can occur, and it basically makes your footage a bit shaky. Think of it as a minor shaky cam, and it creates micro jitters, and this also can really improve the analog feel of your footage. Definitely love this effect, but don't overdo it because it'll look like you forgot to turn on your stabilization in your camera. After this we have the overscan effect. So usually in motion picture film, they scan additional area for further processing. You can add additional information in this additional scanned area. You can also add the perforations here that are in film. And these perforations, of course, allow you to pull the film through a projector or a film camera. And that's what you can see on the side or the top of your footage in this case. Personally, I wouldn't use this effect a lot because I find it a bit too obvious of an effect. But definitely cool that they added it, and I know a lot of people will be excited about this one. After this we have the famous vignetting effect, which is of course an optical flaw created by bad lenses, quote unquote bad lenses. Some people like it. I personally don't like it in my lenses, but adding it in post is of course very nice if you need it. It can definitely help you pull attention to the center of your footage, or at least away from the corners, because a vignette can create a black ring around your footage. This is of course because less light or no light is being captured by the lens you use. Now, if you have a very good lens, you usually don't have vignetting, but you can always add it in post, like I said, to maybe pull some more attention to the center of your footage. It can definitely be a cool effect, and it can definitely add a more analog and classic feel to your footage as well. Now, these are the effects. Dehancer does more. You can export LUTs, for example, or you can do a color check, but I don't consider these effects, so I won't be showing them in this video. All right, so now I've talked about all of the effects and what they do. Now I want to talk about Dehancer in general and their software pack, tell you about the pros and cons, which I found after using it for a couple of days. As I said, I do like it a really lot, but there's definitely room for improvement. So yeah, here are the pros and cons in a completely random order, but I will start with the pros because I'm a positive guy and I like to start with the positive. One pro is that the video plugin for DaVinci is just one big effects chain with lots of ways to degrade your footage and make it more realistic, artistic, or even analog. Digital imagery is perfect nowadays, and analog creates character and atmosphere. And the beauty about this video plugin is that it's also available for Premiere, After Effects, Baselight, Final Cut Pro, and maybe even more programs in the future. I don't know. It's not only for DaVinci users, so yeah, definitely great for those people that want to try it and use Adobe, for example. Another pro is that it comes with a very long quick guide. Now, usually a quick guide is very quick to read, but this one is 55 pages and it took me a while. But it's 55 pages because it has a lot of effects, so that's a good thing. And they explain the process and effect it emulates in analog film development as well. So some effects are very specific, as they create certain visual effects in specific color ranges or lumen ranges. So yeah, a highly detailed guide, if you ask me, definitely worth a read. You'll learn more about the tool and also film development, and you'll be up and running in no time if you read the quick guide. Another thing I like, and I definitely like this a lot when developers do this, is that they have a perpetual license option or a lifetime license option, which is of course not cheap, but the license should never expire. So that's a good thing. You buy once, you have it forever. Keep in mind though that usually when developers do these kinds of licenses, you only have about 12 months of updates. I'm not sure what the policy for Dehancer is, but just keep in mind that you'll probably never get updates after the 12 months. But luckily for the people that maybe have less of a budget, there's also a monthly subscription plan, so you can use it for a certain project that you have in a certain month or a month or two, and then you can always cancel it when you don't need it anymore, and you'll always have updates when you resubscribe, of course. So something to keep in mind. Personally, I'm a fan of perpetual licenses, but I know there's a lot of people that prefer monthly subscriptions. So yeah, pick and choose what you like. But the fact that they have lifetime licenses or perpetual licenses, to me is a big bonus. Another thing I like is that there are lots of presets or tool profiles, and they mimic effects of 8, 16, 35 and 65 millimeter, and they can all be customized as well. So they mimic the effects for more than 80 types of film, and you can select a type of film for a great preset or starting off point, but then you can also tweak it further, and there's a lot of customizability. So yeah, definitely like that. I usually like tools that do a lot of simple things, so there's a lot of customizability and you can really make things your own. I'm not a huge fan of drag and drop effects. You know, you push one button and magically your footage is awesome. No, I just want a lot of customizability, and yeah, Dehancer provides that, but also provides very handy starting off points, or tool profiles as they call them. I would say a preset. You can work really fast, but you can also dive deeper into them and customize it a lot. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for that one. Another thing I like is the film damage section, is that it uses a particle system, like I said, to generate the dust spots, the scratches, the fingerprints. It doesn't rely on a looping video for that. It actually generates particles on your footage, and it makes sure that every frame of your footage is unique and has unique dust spots and fingerprints on it. So you'll never see an obvious loop in your footage if you use this system. So yeah, awesome. Another thing I like is the free online tool. You can add film looks to your photography as well in the online tool, but it is for a maximum of 3 photos a day, meaning you can log in from anywhere and post-process your photographs. But yeah, like I said, only 3 photos a day, but still, it's free, so it's a nice extra. And finally, I also like the desktop version, which allows you to process raw footage, raw photographs. It doesn't work on video, as far as I know, but yeah, it's definitely a handy tool to add film looks to your photographs. Yeah, it also has a raw photo browser, which is very nice because I use Affinity, for example, and I cannot preview raw files through that. As far as I know, I haven't discovered how. And yeah, having the raw files in the desktop version is definitely a bonus. So good stuff. Now, like I said, I will be honest, and there's also room for improvement. So here are the cons, or the thing I like a bit less or don't like about the Dehancer software. But don't forget, this is just my personal preference, and it doesn't mean that the software is bad or anything. One con is that there are no lens type or lens deforms, which could add a extra analog feel, if you ask me. Now, I know this is nothing to do with film development, which is what the Dehancer suite is actually all about. But there are, for example, lens effects like vignetting or lens zoom. So if those lens effects are there, I would also personally like to see other effects like a lens distort, barrel distortion, pincushion distortion maybe, ultra wide, fisheye, that kind of stuff. That will really improve this tool, if you ask me. Other stuff like chromatic aberration is also missing as well. And yeah, it's just extra ways to tweak or de-enhance, as they say, your footage, make it feel more analog, make it feel more realistic. So I would definitely like to see that. Another thing I don't like, and this is specific to the DaVinci plugin, is that a lot of work can actually be done manually in Fusion. So a lot of people would then say, okay, why would I buy Dehancer if I have Fusion? I can do it myself. Well, first of all, there is in Fusion, for example, a film look tool, but this is nowhere near as comprehensive as the Dehancer tool. So it's kind of a plus point that Dehancer is, of course, way more fleshed out than the inbuilt tool that you get with DaVinci Fusion. But still, I can understand some people that would think, why would I buy this if a lot of the effects are in Fusion by themselves. But don't forget that having this tool readily available on the edit page as a linear sequence of effects on the top right is, of course, a way faster way of working, if you ask me, than doing everything manually every time in Fusion. But it would also take you a lot of time and studying to understand some of the effects, because some effects in Dehancer affect certain color ranges or luma ranges. And yeah, it would take you a lot of time to understand these and build them your own in Fusion and having them all ready to go in one simple plugin list. I mean, workflow and speed is, of course, very important too. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. You can also use stuff that other people have made. There's no shame in using stuff that other people have made and mastering it and making it your own. Think of John Mayer, for example, the guitarist. He's a very good guitarist, but as far as I know, he doesn't build his own guitars, but he does master the tool that has been made by other people. And that's my philosophy with some products as well. There's no shame in using things that other people have made. If it's good, use it if you like using it. But of course, I also recommend diving into programs themselves and figuring out how you would be able to make things yourself too. But yeah, if you're in a hurry and need to finish a project quick, for example, and you need some really awesome presets and an effects list that is very comprehensive, then yeah, I would definitely recommend getting Dehancer. Another thing I don't really like is that Dehancer Online is not very customizable, which is the point. I mean, it's made for simplistic online edits, but I personally would like to see a similar depth as the desktop version, for example, so I can use that from anywhere without a powerful computer. Yeah, that would be nice to see. It's a free tool if you upload 3 photos max a day. So yeah, I'm not going to complain about something that's free, but still I would like to see a bit more customizability in the online version. Another thing I don't like is that there's a slight delay or input delay in the online version as well. So if I use it, if I drag my mouse cursor, it takes about half a second for the effect to be processed and rendered back to me. Now, I'm not sure if this was something that was wrong with my computer or my internet, but when I was using it, the input delay was a bit too much for me to comfortably use it. That's a bit of a downside to me. But again, it's a free tool, so I'm not really complaining. And I have the desktop version as well, so I'm probably going to use that for film look editing of my photographs. But it's still nice to have an online version, of course, but it needs to be a bit faster, or at least that's how I experienced it. And finally, another con is that the desktop photo app could use a bit more functionalities. Right now, it has no masking or layer system, for example. So I personally think that the Photoshop or Affinity versions are the better way to go. I'm not sure if Dehancer wants to follow in the Photoshop or Affinity footsteps if they already have a plugin for photo editing. So you can do most of the work in Photoshop and Affinity and then add the film look with the plugin. So in that case, I don't really see the value of the desktop app yet. But again, it's only in version 1.0, so they might add a lot more functionalities in the future. So for me personally, I will definitely be using Dehancer for photo editing, but I'll be doing it with the Affinity plugin instead of the desktop app, because combined with Affinity or Photoshop and the plugin, you get way more functionalities than using the desktop app alone. And that's basically everything I have to say about Dehancer. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget the special promo code I have for you for your 10% discount. It's down below in the pinned comments. And I want to thank the Dehancer team for helping me out with this video. So this was Rick. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. And I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, take care. See ya.